to another episode of Courtside Vision, where we talk and break down everything basketball, whether it's NCAA basketball or NBA. I'm here with Fandy Nation insiders JC and Andy, and today we're going to talk about the college national championship for both women's and men's, and also the breaking news that just happened last night with Nuggets head coach and GM Michael Malone and Calvin Booth, the firing that happened with that. So really excited for what we have in store today. 3 topics, going to talk all about basketball. So first things first that we're going to talk about is UConn and South Carolina. 82-59 win for UConn and its women's basketball versus South Carolina on Sunday. We've had dominant performances from the big 3 for UConn. Azzi Fudd, I feel like, was amazing. Sarah Strong as well. And, of course, Paige Beckers. So we'll start off with Andy. As far as UConn and South Carolina, how'd you feel about that game and your overall insights with that?
Yeah, I mean, that game was just wow. I mean, to see a blowout like that in a national championship against South Carolina, too, it's crazy. I mean, Paige Beckers was on the Today Show. I saw a clip of her, and she said she's been seeing on social media that people say they won by the power of friendship, and she said that's true, and I believe it's true as well. I think, their chemistry is insane, and I'm happy for Beckers especially. You know, she came back for another year, and it ended the way everybody wanted to see it end. So really happy for her. It's UConn. They are one of the juggernauts of basketball. So
yeah, to piggyback off Andy, I'm also shocked as well that it was a blowout. Definitely because it was South Carolina and what they did last year, how good they were last year, and then Paige didn't go off crazy for 30 something points, so you would have thought they would have had a better chance, but the other two, Sarah Strong and Fudd, they just went crazy as well. So it should show you UConn is a good all-around team, and not just Paige. Everybody on the squad can hoop as well. And there was a lot of back and forth between the coach and the officials.
With Gino and Don,
yeah. I'm from Philly, she from around the corner. I almost seen it come out of her. I was like, yo, she's upset over there. So that was crazy though. To see a blowout was crazy. I wasn't expecting a blowout. I thought it was going to be a close game, but UConn been blowing out teams all year. So I mean, it's the championship. We didn't expect it to be in the championship, but I mean, this is UConn. They do blow out teams. So I mean, I'm a Paige fan, so it was refreshing to see because I was worried, but after the first half, I was like, oh, all right, this seemed pretty, seemed like it's gonna go smooth for her.
Yeah, no, definitely seeing Dawn go off like that and just in the bench, the emotions were high. So you could just tell UConn, just that whole game was getting not on her head, but I feel the whole team. So I just felt like South Carolina it just wasn't their day, unfortunately. They just couldn't get stops, and you got to credit UConn's offense. I think Azzi Fudd and Sarah Strong, they were just getting straight buckets. It just felt like straight buckets. Those 3, it's all right, Azzi, pull up midi, easy, or just catch and shoot off the corner 3, straight bucket. It's just straight cash. And then you have Sarah Strong, Paige Beckers with 17 as well. It's kind of you can't really do much when UConn's offense is shooting 48% from the 3. And then if South Carolina just couldn't get stops, and they just didn't have enough offensively as well. So yeah. And I think it's a perfect ending for Paige Beckers. Huge fan of her, and I'm glad she finally got one. And then it's just cool seeing UConn back on top. I remember growing up watching UConn. I didn't like them because they were winning every year, but it's a long time since Gino and them won one. So yeah, exactly. So just seeing them back and stuff. It's kind of good for, I think, women's basketball as well, and just that UConn women's program. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Just happy, but I do wish closer. They took care of business, had a huge blowout, but that's kind of my wish. Was I felt like it would be a lot better. I know South Carolina just wasn't there, but I felt like they could have done a lot better to keep it close. Just make shots, get a couple stops.
They could have had a better offense. The offense just wasn't clicking. Yeah, their offense just wasn't clicking at all.
Yeah, but shout out to UConn, shout out to Paige, shout out to Coach G. Got it done. The momentum was there, and I think they, as far as I know they're number 2 seed, but it kind of was obvious based on how their performance was that whole March Madness tournament. You kind of knew the writing was on the wall for them to win. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
South Carolina come back.
Yeah, next year they'll back. They had a good season, but
right, exactly. They'll come back next year swinging because those girls are still young.
Yeah. So speaking of another national championship, Florida versus Houston was a big one this past Monday. So Florida beat Houston on Monday, 65-63, to their third national championship. Gators led a total of 1 minute throughout the whole game. Came back trailing by as much as 12 points. So Florida versus Houston. I'll start with you, JC. How did you feel about that game? How did you feel about that last possession for Houston and just the overall game of that that crazy championship?
I thought it was crazy because first half I felt like Houston did a really good job of keeping what's his name Clayton Jr. Away from the paint and keeping the ball. Yeah, they would trap him off screen. They automatically we just trapping him off ball screens, making sure he's not involved, getting the ball out of his hand, making the other guys score. And I felt like Colden, he was messing up a lot in the first half. Like he was dropping the ball a lot, and he just was making a lot of turnovers, a lot of stupid turnovers. And to see them kind of come back in like I guess would have been like the second half of a third quarter, but that like first half of the second half, if that makes sense, like them starting to come back all of a sudden was crazy. Some of those guys went cold on Houston. Like they were hooping, but then they went cold a little bit on Houston. Cryer went a little cold in the end, and then like number 8, who's number 8? Malik Wilson. Yeah, he was doing good in the first half, and then the second half he just went quiet, just went cold. And the play call at the end, I thought it was cool, but I felt like there probably should have been more action on the weak side, just because I felt like he didn't have another option when he pump faked and he came back down. He didn't have another option to even like dump it off. But it's kind of weird he didn't get a shot off. I felt like he should have got a shot off. How did y'all feel about the play call? Like, how did you feel about the call? Period? Did you like the play?
So as far as the play call, I was looking at the play and I kind of like the set that they're running. So it started off with the stagger screen, and then it was either a gate or elevator screen to get the shooter open. I forgot who the shooter was. Unfortunately, couldn't get the shot off, but I like the play call. But I just feel overall Houston's that set was so botched because their execution for that there was no screen set. They felt a little rushed, and I get the lights are on, the moment's there, but you have two big men who are supposed to set that stagger screen. No, they didn't hit no man, and then that gate screen that they're supposed to have to get that guy open, they didn't hit him too. That's why Clayton was able to get that closeout. So I like the set call, but I just think the overall execution, especially in the last 2 minutes for Houston, it just wasn't good.
Just fell apart.
Yeah, you think it's exactly. You think the last game, the last 2 minutes of the game, the last play of the game, you think. In your mind as a player, you'd be like, oh, I got to do exactly what I do. I got to execute right, and I got to hit somebody on the screen. So I just think, the lack of execution really killed them. Yeah. So that's how I felt about that last play call and that last possession. But Andy, how about you? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the idea was there, but it just didn't, the puzzle pieces didn't fall together. And that happens, I feel like... I feel like just with the moment and with how big of a moment that is, I feel like it just kind of all fell apart. So, I mean, hey, it's I feel like it could be one of those what if moments, that people think about, where it's like, what if this worked out? What if the stagger screens were set? All that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's unfortunate. But I mean, Florida was they just came out the better team in that situation. So
it's just weird. College sports is like that. It's just like they don't give the ball to the best players sometimes and just everybody get out the way. Like maybe he should have did that instead of trying to run a stagger screen with a couple seconds left. Knowing they might not execute that well, being as though they're college kids. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of college ball, to be honest, but I feel like that might be a little much for, let's say if we had all rookies on the NBA, you wouldn't run, you wouldn't run a play like that. You would just have the best player on the team just take the ball, ISO, and just score. Kemba Walker, you know what I mean? Kemba Walker. You could have had a Kemba Walker moment right there.
Yeah, and also, and kudos to Florida. I mean, that last stretch when they were down 12 coming back, you've seen it time again, when it came with Texas Tech, Auburn, down, and then they come back. So I just think, they've had games prior to that national championship that was prepared them. So just kudos to them for, locking in and staying afloat. And I also just think, as much as it was a great heroic win for Florida to get back. I just think like Houston, it was kind of a Houston downfall within that second half.
Definitely. They lost that game.
Yeah, like that second half, they couldn't really shoot. And I just felt like, Houston, as far as their defense, like they're scrappy, they're physical. But I just think they didn't make the adjustments at that. Like, they didn't make any adjustments. So you're not making shots, and I think they were trapping the ball a little bit too much to where like.
I was just about to say you trapped all first half, so you obviously know second half they're going to be prepared to do trap. And Clayton Jr. did much better in the second half than he did in the first half because obviously he got a chance to power out with the coach and then come up with a little game plan for how to adjust to this trap. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I just think especially if you're up 12 with like however many minutes left, like. As even though like you're trapping and getting up all over Clayton, like Clayton did a great job getting to his bigs. Like he wasn't making as many shots, but he was doing a great job getting to his bigs, making easy ones for them. So I just think that
he didn't get frustrated. Like sometimes players get frustrated seeing teams like that. Like
he stayed locked in.
Yeah, so I just think overall execution for Houston is kind of what lost them the game. But kudos to Florida, like I said, they came down to the wire, ended up winning in that last minute. But that last minute is the most important minute. Is
that not how you start?
Especially in a championship.
Yeah. So
the heartbreak on those kids, like, oh my gosh. When they couldn't get the shot off and everybody just looking, I was like, yeah, bro, it's over. The game is over. Then they was like, yo, the game over. Like, yeah, the game is over, bro. Y'all did not get a shot off. Like, yeah, game over. It was.
Yeah, I think also for like Florida, I think Will Richard played really well. I think he had 18 and 8 for them.
Yeah, no, he went insane. It was Condon, Richard, and Clayton that all like those were. Like,
and second half too, because they was like a little rough in the first half. Second half they turned it on. Like that was really a tale of two halves. Like they really turned it around in the second half. It was really crazy.
Houston's biggest lead was 12. Florida's biggest lead was 2, which is insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, so shout out to Florida, of course, winning their third national championship. I did have them on my bracket going to the chip, but I, of course, had Duke winning it. But I think Florida definitely had a harder road to the championship compared to like the Dukes and Houston and stuff. So kudos to them again, and congrats to Walter.
My delusional Maryland bias had Maryland beating Florida in the. I don't know. I was sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I got faith. I'm gonna do it. And then I watched the game. And I was like, what was I thinking? What was I doing? Oh my god! I was like, all right, yeah, that's not
blew the bracket right up.
You guys think Houston could come back next year? Maybe try and make another Final Four? Or
I think so.
I'm never counting out Kelvin Sampson again. After that, after their run this year, I'm never counting him out again.
And they learn from stuff like that. He'll learn from that. He'll learn from that. He won't do a complicated play next year. Watch. It'll be a real simple play. Watch.
Yeah, I think this offseason too, I think Houston hopefully could get like some guys from the transfer portal and stuff and help them out. So, I mean, you look at their culture and stuff, like it's a great place for people to play and stuff. So I do think Houston could get back to the national championship. It's just a matter of time of seeing who they get and kind of like what comes out of like recruiting and the transfer portal.
So college really has like a off season now, like because of this transfer portal. It's really an off season for college now.
The transfer portal starts like a week or two into the tournament as well, which is it messes with a lot of teams that are in the tournament. So like Maryland, for example, my team, right? While we were playing in the tournament, there were top transfer portal prospects that were hitting the transfer portal, and so we missed out on a lot. To make matters worse, our coach left. So that didn't help anything. And then he took everyone with him. He took all the players. He took all the staff. He took everyone. And so now we have to build up with Buzz Williams. We have to build up from ground, zero. And so yeah, that's the issue with the transfer portal that a lot of people have, as well as how many times players can transfer. Like I think Michi Johnson went to Ohio State or South Carolina or something like that, and now he's like flip-flopping between the two. Like he transferred like 2 or 3 times in his 4 or 5 years being in college, so it's crazy. It's insane.
Well, speaking of, changes, coaches leaving, changes and stuff. So we're going to NBA now. Next topic that we're going to talk about is the crazy Michael Malone firing last night. So Denver Nuggets fire Michael Malone and their GM Calvin Booth right before the NBA playoffs. So I know there's 3 games left in the regular season. The Nuggets are currently 47-32 and 4th in the West, but I think it's still there's 4th in the West. I know they've been 3-7 in the last 10 games, but it's still not a bad season. I think Michael Malone has done a really good job. So Nuggets owners believe they need a full culture reset, and supposedly Malone and Booth reportedly had many disagreements with personnel and roster decisions. So me personally, I think it's a crazy random fire, but we'll start with you, JC. How do you feel about this firing from Denver Nuggets head coach Michael Malone?
I think the timing is crazy, but the writing was kind of on the wall, and it's kind of like it's a copycat league. So they fired Taylor Jenkins. I guess everybody was like, "Oh, I guess we can fire a coach whenever we want." So they kind of went ahead and did that. They said that they were going to get rid of either the GM or the coach at the end of the season anyway. And I guess they decided because of the way the season was going, and I guess I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know what ownership was really thinking. I don't know why they decided to pull the trigger right now. Like right now, I guess they just figured going into the playoffs, give them a different look, a different feel, maybe a jolt of energy. Because a lot of Nuggets fans and a lot of Nuggets analysts are saying that Jokic's body language hasn't been the same off the court, and it just seems like Mike Malone lost the locker room, and he's just not getting through to the guys anymore. So firing the coach and giving everybody a chance to settle in with the assistants coach, and there was a lot of teams whose practices and film sessions and things like that go through the assistant coach anyway, and it could be a thing where a lot of the players are like, maybe the assistant coach should be running everything, and maybe we'll listen to the assistant coach a little bit more. And I think this assistant coach was heavy in implementing this offense, so it's not like it's going to be a huge change, but I do think it puts a lot of pressure on Jokic and Jamal Murray when he comes back. I think it puts more pressure on Jamal Murray than anything because Jamal Murray hasn't been having a good season, a good couple seasons because he's been coming off an injury. People are calling, for trading to get rid of him, just that and the third, kind of blow the team up type of situation, and just try to do something again with building around Jokic. So I don't know. I think this shows that they're in turmoil and they don't really know where to go after this because after you get rid of your coach and your GM, then you start getting rid of players. So we'll see how the roster ends up being and shakes out in this offseason. And I don't know. Maybe Jokic to LA.
We'll see about that. I don't know. That seems like too good to be true.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
Yeah. Andy, how about you? Yeah, how do you feel about that, Andy?
I feel like they had 2 options. I mean, like you said, 3 games until the playoffs. They can either rip the Band-Aid off now and just start over with a new assistant coach and whoever they want to put as the GM or whatever, or they can ride this out until, the end of the season, the end of the playoffs, and just do it then and see just kind of what happens. I guess they decided to go to the rip the Band-Aid off route. That's an interesting one. After seeing all of the turnover, the coach carousel in college basketball, I don't like the decision because I feel like it messes with team chemistry. I feel like it really just, things are going to be awkward because that guy that has been leading them is not there anymore. As well, their GM is not there anymore. So, I feel like, there's disagreements within organizations that happens. I feel like they would have been better off just, seeing how far they can go in the playoffs and then, just taking it from there. And if firing is what's in store, then that's what's in store. But I think you need to, just tell the players, hey, look, we're going to take this as far as we can. We're going to do what we can to get as far as we can in the playoffs. Whatever happens after that is what happens. So I feel like they should have kind of thought about how this would affect the team a little more than they probably did.
Yeah, I know I've heard Michael Porter Jr. say that if they didn't win this year or they didn't go far this year, that this could possibly be their last dance. And like with him, Jokic and Murray and those guys all together, like that core, and we already see the coach going. So maybe it's like the writing's on the wall. Maybe they're ready for a change because it's been a couple rough years for those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, with this firing, I just think the timing is a little weird. Like, you have 3 games until the playoffs, like, and it's not like Mike Malone, like, had not a good year with them. Like, they're 4th in the West, but they're like right there with like everyone else, like the Warriors, the Lakers. Like, it's the West. Like, it's hard, but like it's a tough conference. And yeah, I just think like to make that drastic move this late, I think you said it right, like best, Andy. Like, how's the identity going to look like? Their chemistry, like how, like dramatic change. Like, how is this going to affect them, especially since the playoffs are coming? But at the same time, you can't doubt them. They have the best player in the game right now
in the world, right?
So, yeah. So it's like, yeah, you lose a coach, but you still got a guy that can get you 50, 10, and 10. So.
That's true. Yeah, for sure. I just think it's going to mess with the chemistry, and then also I don't think this is I don't like this trend in the NBA. Like, you win a ring and then you get fired a couple years later. Like, they just won a championship, like the first championship in a very long time in Denver, and he gets fired. The Memphis coach gets fired, and he had them in like the 3rd seed all year, and he gets fired. Like, I don't like the trend of just firing coaches for winning. I don't know. It's like if you win, you get fired. You win Coach of the Year, you win a chip, you get fired in a couple of years. It's just like weird.
Yeah. You get fired for doing your job correctly and doing it and exceeding all expectations. That you did a great job. You're fired.
Like, what's going on? That's crazy. So I just don't like that trend, and we'll see if it continues. But I don't know. It's like ever since Luka got traded, it's like everybody's like, we're just going to do what we want. Like, we forget basketball decisions. If it makes sense for basketball, we don't really care about that.
Literally shook up the basketball world. That one move.
Yeah, owners said, yeah, after that Luka trade, owners are like, oh, yeah, we got the upper hand now. I mean, like, and like with this firing, it kind of gives me like the same vibe as like a couple years ago with like Mike Budenholzer, like in the Bucks. Like, he wins a championship. Like, personally, I think the Bucks don't win if like Kyrie and Harden and stay healthy, but they win a championship. Kudos to them and Giannis. But you win one, and then what happens the next and stuff. So I just think it's like, we don't know yet, but I think there's definitely something with like the ownership, and maybe they're just like not seeing eye to eye, or they just don't like his coaching style anymore. But yeah, hopefully, I feel like Malone's gonna find a new team. I don't think he's gonna be away from the NBA. I think next year he'll definitely find something like a coaching gig. But yeah, a very dramatic change, especially 3 games left, like playoffs or play in coming in next Tuesday. So we'll see how it goes for Denver. Of course, you can't count them out still, regardless of the changes that they made, because they got, in my opinion, the best player in the world right now in Jokic, and they still have a good supporting cast. Like, they still got, like, if Murray comes back, Aaron Gordon, could go off any day. Like, and even like their bench, like Westbrook, Peyton Watson and stuff. Like, they're still solid players. And then you see Christian Braun kind of turning into a really good role player. Like they'll figure it out, but. Yeah, we'll see how the changes affect them, but hopefully it doesn't affect them too much, and they make a deep run in the playoffs still, and then we'll kind of see what happens. Coaching staff and their GM. Well, that's the end of this episode. Nation fans, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Courtside Vision, and shout out to JC and Andy for hopping on and kind of giving their insights. But next episode, we'll be talking more about NBA playoffs, since NBA playoffs are coming, and hopefully more about the NBA play-in. But besides that, thank you again for tuning in to Courtside Vision, and we'll see you guys next time.